I'm Dylan, and welcome to Twisted Rich Garage. What's up, guys, and thanks for joining me on another episode of Twisted Rich Garage. As you can see here, we're staring at the butt end of this Chevy truck here. Well, there's a few things that we needed to take care of, and one of them's going to be changing out the diff fluid in this thing. It's got a pretty bad leak. We're not even sure it has any fluid left in it, but it has been sitting here. We haven't been driving it, so no kind of damage or anything kind of concern like that. But we are going to get that taken care of. We're going to try to also see if we can get the fuel tank dropped out of it, see if we can get the fuel pump and fuel sending unit changed over, because the gas gauge is messed up. The fuel pump's good, so we'll probably keep that and we'll just throw in the new one. But the sending unit itself, I'm assuming the little bobber on it has busted off and it's probably floating around in the tank. But whenever this thing gets to like half tank of gas, quarter tank of gas, the needle will start to bounce, go up and down, just all kinds of crazy. And then when it's really low, it'll go all the way down and almost touch the oil pressure gauge. And I'll show you that if I saw it earlier. It kind of looked like it was at that point, so might be able to show you. So let's go ahead and get in here and let's first kick off doing this rear diff. We got the gasket and we got the oil. We just got to get in there and drain what's left in there, clean it up. We might see about painting the pan. He's got some leftover black paint from when we did that bumper, so we might throw a can of paint on it, maybe make it look a little bit better. But that's probably going to be all we're going to get done today, and then tomorrow we're probably going to hop right in and start to drop in that tank. But we'll probably flip the truck around, that way we're working more on this side. I just wanted to back the truck up in here, that way you guys weren't having to listen to the wind, because the wind is a little breezy today, but it is super nice. Oh my gosh, it's like 78, 80 degrees. It's super nice. I'm super stoked. So let's go ahead and get in here. Let me show you guys what we're looking at. Got some lighting set up for you guys down here, and that's definitely what we're looking at. I did take a look at the gas gauge, but it because the truck slipped around, it's actually reading kind of like it's got a little over a quarter of tank. So later when we flip it around, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. But you can probably see right, in that area there, it's got a little drip. So that's definitely leaking from the pan gasket itself. Let's take a look at that front pinion and let's see if it's leaking from there. Yeah, it definitely looks like it might be leaking from the pinion seal itself too. So we might have to look into seeing about getting that swapped out. Doesn't look super wet, but it could be leaking from the back up front, vice versa. So we're definitely gonna have to clean this all up a lot better before we make a final decision on whether or not we're going to change that. So we're going to go ahead and start pulling these bolts off.
So nasty and grimy, I can't even. That wasn't even tight.
No, it was tight. You heard it go click, 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 click before it rotated. So
I don't want to drop those.
Yeah. We're going to pull all of them off except for the top one. We're going to work our way kind of like this, and then we'll let it drain after we pop it free. And then we'll pull the top one completely. We're just going to loosen the top one, but leave it in. So we'll let him get these fully pulled off.
It's going to be disgusting.
And we'll get it pop free. Alright, that's holding your brake line brackets.
Yep.
And then we're just going to loosen that top one. No, yeah, we still have fluid in there, see?
Some.
So let's just loosen that one just a little bit. Don't take it all the way out. Okay, that's probably good. So I'm gonna go grab you a
screwdriver.
I'm gonna go grab you a pry bar, and or a small pry bar, and we're gonna pry that flat surface right there on both sides, and then it'll pop free. Give her a pry.
Yummy.
Oh, yummy. Yeah, there's no gasket. That's just RTV, I think. But we'll get a better look at it once it's fully off. So we're just going to let this drain out for a little while. Ugh. Gear oils. gross. Let's bring this forward.
Yeah, there's some sludge in there.
That'll keep it from... Yeah. We'll just let this drain and we'll bring you guys back. It's drained enough that we can pull the pan off. I'm just gonna pop this off the rest of the way for him.
There she goes.
And then we should be able to pull that off. Go ahead. You have to get it past that.
Yeah, no.
There you go. And then we're in our differential.
Yummy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they got some RTV onto this carrier there, but it's alright. No, there's no big bits or nothing, which we weren't expecting anything like that, but there's no, doesn't look like it's got a bunch of gunk or anything like that in it. I mean, definitely from the RTV, you can tell somebody's been in here before. And, yeah, there is a gasket on it. Maybe.
No.
Yeah, there is. There's a gasket on it, but
Oh, what?
Yeah. I'm assuming they probably just reused the gasket that was on it and they just RTV'd it and hoped for the best. But yeah, that's some stuff that you'll run into. See, like that right there, that RTV going into the threads. So we'll have to clean all this up. We'll wipe this down and clean this area up. We'll have to work on this pan as well, get this cleaned up. A little bit of stuff there on the magnet. I don't know if, let me show you guys here.
Tiny little bit.
Yeah, there's a little bit of stuff there on the magnet.
It seems like the usual wear stuff though.
Yeah, we don't have another one for it, so I mean it'll be fine. We'll clean it all up. We'll put some new fluid in it. You know, ain't gonna hurt nothing. So we'll have to definitely clean that pan up, get this stuff cleaned up. Definitely should have grabbed some parts cleaner. Maybe we might be able to get some of this RTV off of there without needing it. But and we'll run a tap through these bolt holes as well, just to clean them out, get that crap out of them. All right, we got him working on getting that pan cleaned up. I just kind of got the heavy stuff off as I could. We got a bucket of water with some purple power here. Why? Because it's you know, purple and it's powerful. It works. It's what I usually use to clean up like valve covers and oil pans and those kind of stuff, because you can get it in bulk. It's a really good degreaser, but it's going to definitely take some elbow grease to get this nice and clean. Then after we get it clean and all that nasty grease and stuff off of it, then we'll wire wheel it down and get it ready for paint. But this is, like I said, this is gonna take some time for him to get this all cleaned up, and we'll bring you guys back once we get done. Well, we got that as clean as we're gonna get it, or as as clean as we're really concerned about getting it. I went ahead and sprayed some rust converter over it. It's pretty much dry now. We were talking about maybe going black, but I forgot that I had some other paint that kind of matched his truck a little bit. This forged hammer, I'm not quite sure, burnished amber. Kind of matches his truck a little bit. I mean, it kind of has this hammered look to it, and it'll kind of cover up some of the impurities on there. I mean, this thing ain't perfect. And again, we aren't looking for perfection here. We're just trying to make it look a little bit better. I mean, and this is paint and primer in one, so I mean, why not? So I mean, kind of curious how this is gonna look. And so is he.
Smells like paint.
Definitely smells like paint. We're running out of daylight though. Yeah, just about. Alright, so that's good enough for one coat. Going a little heavy. It'll be fine. We'll probably throw 3 or 4 coats on it. Losing daylight, but we did get this fully painted. I used a heat gun to give it some heat, kind of let it bake a little bit. Just to kind of speed the process up a little bit. Still pretty warm, but I can handle it. Oh, that is really hot. Bring it out here, over here to the light. Ooh, hot. But, ooh. Yeah, that's pretty cool though. I know in camera it kind of looks more silverish, but in person it's got a gold tint to it. I've got Mikhail set up here as well while we're waiting on that to dry. I've got him with a drill and just a little wire brush. We're going to clean this surface up, get this prepped and ready for that pan and new gasket to go on. So we've got the gasket just tacked onto the actual pan. We got it all cleaned up and painted. It's looking pretty good. So it's good to go. We're going to go ahead and start getting this put back together. We can get this job finished up. Got to get it past that brake line on the other side.
Yeah, that's the.
Might have to pull it out a little bit. There you go.
Cool.
Get that top middle bolt started, and we'll get them all going.
I think this one was over here, so I'm just gonna make sure
Well, get the top middle one going.
Yeah, I was just
because
trying.
the gasket's gonna try to slide on you.
Mm-hmm.
So get a couple of them in there, and then you can worry about getting the rest. Okay, stop. Then go to the second one from there. Skip one.
Yeah.
Then go to the other side. And then skip one, go up. Yep, skip one. Okay, now you can go do the other ones.
Okay. I don't feel like it's on there.
Alright, you get them all?
I believe so.
Alright. So now we got to get to the front side of this so we can get it filled. I don't know how well you guys can see that hole there. Oh, you kind of can see it right here. But this is the hole we're shooting for. Got to cut open this bottle here. And a knife sharp. Alright, and we're just gonna fill it up until it starts to dribble, and I might have to get a hose for this. No, we got it.
Is it going anywhere?
No, it's not going anywhere because it has a little seal on it too. So not only do you have to cut off that little nipple of it, you gotta. There we go. I'm gonna tell you what, we're gonna expedite this process. Instead of cutting off just a nubbin of it, we're gonna cut the whole shebang off almost. Get out of my way, bottle. Not quite sure exactly how much this takes, but we're gonna put it in until it drains out, essentially. Is it really already draining out? Oh yeah, that felt good. Love the bottle farts. No, that's just leaking out from, well, maybe not. Yeah. How much oil does this thing take? It's gotta be full, I guess.
Huh, that was fast.
Didn't seem like it took. It didn't even take the whole thing. That can't be right. What are we doing with our lives?
I'm pretty sure it's.
Yeah, it's not full.
It's just taking a while to fill up.
No, it's just the extras. Yeah, I don't have to put a hose on that bottle to get the rest of it. Matter of fact, I'm not even gonna worry about that. That thing can bugger off. We'll grab that and we'll take the nozzle off of this one. Alright. Since this one's full again, or since this one's full, Man, your truck's got some bad gas.
Reminds me of 2 liter. Same color and everything.
All right. We only got 2 of these things, huh?
Yeah. That's how much was recommended, was 2 bottles.
All right. Yeah, we'll have to put a rubber hose on the end of it to get the rest of it, I think. Well, I went ahead and spent some time, cleaned up this axle housing a little bit. It's not fully covered in dirt and grease now, and to make it a little easier for us to identify if this pinion seal is leaking right here. And we'll be able to see little drips from here if that's the case. That is one more job taken care of. That leak was definitely bothering him quite a bit. He wanted to get that taken care of. We got the gasket swapped out, new fluid in there. Got that bottom of that axle cleaned up pretty well. Should let us know a lot easier if that pinion seal's leaking, and if we need to grab that, we can. We can try to look at maybe changing that if we have to. But hopefully, plan is tomorrow we will get back to work on this old Chevy here. See if we can get that fuel tank dropped out of it. See if we can get a new pump and sending unit put in. Knowing his gas gauge is working right would definitely help, because you could definitely run out of gas if your gas gauge ain't working. So we'll check you guys out tomorrow. What's up, guys? We're back on another day. We're hopping right into trying to change out this fuel pump and sending unit on this truck. We've already made some progress. We went ahead and we're doing a method that I've seen online a few times. I know people cut holes in the bed of their truck to do it, as well as they take the bed completely off, or you can drop the tank. We're doing one of those 3 methods, and we're actually lifting the bed up on this side to do it just from right here. Let's see how it goes. I mean, I've heard good reviews, I've heard bad reviews about doing it this way. We're gonna do it anyways. Don't really feel like trying to drop the tank right now, but we've got kind of a curious setup. Yeah, that looks good, right? So that'll hold good. So we gotta unhook the ground from the frame here. I'm not quite sure how well you guys can see that, but there's a ground from the frame here. We got to disconnect. We'll have to unhook this harness, a couple hose clamps, and then we got some hard lines here as well. Those hard lines got 5/8 on top, and I believe it's 3/4 on the bottom. You'll want to rotate the 5/8 on the top to undo that. Then we'll be ready to pull that pump out. There's going to be a ring that we're going to need to tap counterclockwise to get that to unlock, and then we'll start to be able to pull that pump right out. Then we can kind of get a better look at what's causing our fuel gauge issue. So let me show you what that fuel gauge issue is real quick before we unhook the battery and get to work. And here's the reason why we're wanting to change this out. Turn the key on, see if it does it now. And it's not. But last night when I pulled this up into the driveway, this gas gauge here was all the way down here. And yeah, definitely not working the way it's supposed to. Right now it's working okay. Definitely don't have this much gas. It's definitely lower than that, I believe. But this is why we're changing it. I was wanting to show you guys that, but unfortunately can't. It's not showing the same symptom right now. And just like that, we got the fuel pump out. Really wasn't that bad, honestly. The float for the sending unit is still intact, so I mean that's still there. I don't know why it was giving us such a crazy signal. It could just be inside this this mechanism here. Inside there's actually some copper strips all going around in a curve, and then when this arm rotates, that's what changes the resistance on this. This one might be straight up and down, but they're usually curved, and they're just copper strips that this lead touches, and that's what changes your fuel gauge. Now I think it's just something wrong in here, but we are probably going to go ahead and unplug this pump and undo it from here. We'll keep this pump because this pump is still good. The rest of it can go, but this is not the factory pump. This has definitely been changed out. Someone's been in here before. Otherwise, it would have factory style, crimp style hose clamps on here. Wouldn't have these kinds. So someone definitely has been into the gas tank before. So let's go ahead to get the new one in here, get that taken care of. So we got the new one out of the box, just kind of making sure everything is the same here. Yeah, there's those factory style clamps. You'll see they're press style. So the only thing that we've seen that's different is going to be this tube here. It actually, instead of just ending like right here and just coming straight like this one down here, this one is just straight. It actually kicks down, and then the float on this one is a bit smaller as well. So I mean, oh well, still be all right. Still all looks the same. So let's get this slapped in here. We're just finishing up the last bit of connections here. I'm just cutting down this hose, make it so it'll fit right. I'm gonna need that little hose clamp. I'll put that on there. And all we gotta do is connect this hose.
Yeah, before we put that down, we gotta check to make sure it starts.
Come on now.
Yeah, we'll get her done before dark.
Yeah, we might be able to get it done before dark, like I said. All right. Now we just got to put this clamp on. There we go. That needs to get bent back down because I kind of bent it. Got that tightened. We need to hook up the wiring.
And get that ground hooked up.
And get the ground. Where'd our wiring plug go down here?
I like tucked it away.
Oh, you made it super hard to get, I guess.
That's right there.
It's all right. I like a challenge. It's all right.
I just love this.
So we're gonna. Well, if that's gonna plug in there now, come on.
It will. It's just the green. It's water sealed, waterproof.
Yeah, I mean, I know that. I mean, it still shouldn't be that difficult. Okay, whatever. All right, where's that ground bolt?
Right here.
What was the tab for?
No idea. I don't know if it was for anything. It looks like somebody just made a homemade washer or something.
Oh, light. Don't really need it all that much. It's still daylight out here. Really, the light's for you guys. Where's the hole at?
It's way over.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, there you go.
I see it. I wonder if that clamp was for the wiring harness to be held down.
Maybe. Ain't too big of a deal now. Let's see what this thing looks like.
Okay.
It definitely needs a bumper.
Yeah, it definitely needs a bumper. Was it a 14? What is it? No, it's a 13.
Yeah, it was one of them. Look at this red paint that's just peeling off the bed.
Yeah. Alright, so we got a ground.
That's the kind of red.
All right. So I mean, technically this job's done. I mean, that's all connected, fuel lines, etc. So I think from here we're gonna hook the battery up. We're actually gonna give it a fire, give it a test fire, make sure it still runs, obviously. Then we're gonna check that gas gauge, make sure that's working. And we'll take it on a trip up to the gas station, put some gas in it. Battery's all hooked up. We're gonna give it a test fire. Take a look at that gas gauge. Oh, what is it doing? Why is it doing that? It's doing the same thing it was doing before. I wonder if the gas gauge itself is messed up. What the heck? It still runs, but look at that gas gauge. What the heck?
Huh.
Really thought that. We really thought the sending unit was the culprit of that. What's going on? I wonder if it could be a ground issue. I wonder if maybe we need to clean that ground up.
It's pretty rough.
I wonder if that ground at the back of the bed, I wonder if that has to do with the gas gauge.
Maybe.
Because I know mine on my truck, it did.
It's missing.
So let's turn it off. We're gonna turn it off. We're gonna check our ground. Then we'll hook up that ground to the back and verify if that's gonna cause the issue or not.
Oh, that ain't going back.
Yeah, it ain't going back. So I think it might be. I don't know. We'll bring guys back once we find something out. What's up, guys? It's the next day. We ended up running out of daylight. Fooling with that gas gauge. Maybe it wasn't the sending unit, I guess. But I mean, he's got a new fuel pump, the sending unit in it now. We're gonna keep the old one just in case as like a backup if something happens. We can throw that in there and he'll still have a truck. Because it was a really quick job, wasn't that bad. But when it came to the gas gauge, trying to get it to work properly, I ended up having to take apart our parts gauge. We actually have two gauges for the truck. When I got the truck, it had another gauge cluster with it. This one here was like a 217,000 mile cluster or something like that. But this one was missing the tachometer. And the needle was just glued to the face of it, and the needle was just glued on the speedometer. So I had to pull all this apart, and what I did was I actually popped the gauge out of this one and I've put it into his cluster, and I've got the needle off of it right now. I've got all the needles set where they need to be, and we're here in a little while. We're actually going to take the truck up and get some gas in it. I'm gonna see if he could fill it up, and if we could fill it up, I'm gonna set the needle on the full line once we get it full. But I did test this cluster in the truck to verify that the gauge was working, and that one does appear to be working. I'm hoping that that'll all turn out just fine. We do have a few things we got to patch up today. To get it all done, that's putting the rest of the cluster back together. I've got the face of it off right now, and then the bezel that goes over it is off. And then we also have our roll pan and tailgate to slap back on. He's talking about maybe not putting the roll pan back on, but he needs it for right now because he needs a tag and a tag light. I've been telling him he needs to find like a short bed, or not really a short bed, but a step side rear bumper for it. I think it'll look a lot better. This roll pan is just shot. It's been hit in this corner over here, over down that side over there. It's got some damage. It's not the greatest roll pan at all. So maybe we can try to make a trip to the salvage yard to see if we can find a bumper for him. I mean, I know I got to find a few things for myself if I can. So let's go ahead and get in here and let's get the rest of this put back together and see if we can get that gas gauge fully operational. Really hoping we do. And when it comes to this cluster here, there's a few things you have to do to get it pulled apart. I'll just kind of loosely put it back together for now. But you'll have this face. It has plastic clips. You'll have to pop out on either side to get that to come off, and then you'll have to get by where the little nipples are on either side of this, and you'll have to get just a little bit of pry on either side because it's just a wedge fit in there. And then once you get that separated and the needles off, you can actually just rotate this around, and then there's all your gauges. You can see the tachometer is missing. Here's our speedo. Our fuel gauge is right here. This is the one I pulled out, and then we've got some other spare gauges here. Oil pressure, battery, and I can't remember what the other one is. Temperature. But to get those out, it just takes a little. What was that? A T8? Yeah, T8. We'll pull out two little screws on either side, and I just remove that and put it right over. Here's our faulty gauge. this thing is definitely not working right. So let's get back in here and get to work. We didn't record pulling the roll pan off, but it's just held on with self tappers going across. That's how the person who had it before me put it on. So we just got to run in these self tappers back in the same spots, hook up that tag light, and then we can throw the tailgate back on. Last few self tappers, and roll pan's on. So I'll let him get up underneath there and hook up that wiring down there, and then I'll go and grab the tailgate and I'll slap that on for him. Well, we just got back from the gas station. We didn't fill it up. We put $30 in, which I calculated at the price. It was like $2.79 a gallon. Roughly came up to about 10 gallons. So I'm guesstimating this truck was about empty. So I didn't actually touch anything. I just kind of left it where it was. I put the needle on yesterday where I thought it kind of should be. It seems like it's pretty close. Let me show you. Now if I turn the key on, with that $38, you know, 10 gallons, that should be roughly about a half tank of gas. And that's what it came out to be. So I just went ahead and slapped all this back together, and we can call this fixed. Now, it wasn't necessarily, you know, from that sending unit. It was this actual gauge giving us the problem, but you know, sometimes that's just the way it works. Looking underneath the truck, been paying attention to this over the past few days. I haven't seen any leaks from the pinion seal up on the front there or from this pan. So I think we solved all of our leaking problems here. So that is awesome. Well, I think that's where we're gonna call this video. We definitely made some progress on his truck. You know, didn't actually fix it the way that, you know, I thought we were gonna fix it, but you know, that's just sometimes the way it works out. You know, I thought it was the sending unit that was causing the problems on his gas gauge. Turns out it was actually the gauge. I mean, I've changed out that cluster once before, and I thought the other cluster did the same thing, but I'll tell you what, that was like 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I've had this truck a while. I don't even remember when I bought this truck. I didn't even buy it. I traded for it. I traded a Mazda like 3. It's a hatchback, Mazda 3 hatchback. I traded for that truck, and yeah, I just have had it since then, and he ended up buying it from me. But we did make that progress. We did, you know, over this week, you know, making sure that rear axle's not leaking. You know, that's definitely a good thing. We don't want to be tearing up that rear axle. Getting that gas gauge to work was definitely a big plus too. You know, knowing how much gas you have so you don't run out, you know, that's a big deal. Seems pretty close. I mean, we'll keep an eye on it later on in the future. Once he does fill it up, once he does do that, I'll check it, make sure that the needle is where it needs to be, and if I need to move it, I'll move it then. But as of right now, it can tell him when he's pretty close to E, so that's a good thing. Like I said, we're gonna keep the old pump. We're gonna use it as just like a backup in case, you know, he's on the highway somewhere or out in the country somewhere driving or on his way to work. You know, never know. That new pump that we just put in, you know, it might only last 3 or 4 months. You just really don't know. So we're just gonna keep that one just as a backup, just in case. If we have to throw it back in, we'll throw it back in. Oh well. But like I said, this is where we're gonna call this video. Me and him, we're actually gonna go out for a cruise around the neighborhood so we can get some more practice in. He hasn't gotten to drive his truck a whole lot since we've been messing with it, working on it and stuff, and he wants to drive around a little bit. So we're gonna go out and enjoy this beautiful weather, let him drive his truck around and have some fun. Again, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll check you guys out on the next episode.